All right, please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll call the meeting to order at 6 p.m. Can I get a roll call, please?
Michael Cashman.
Present.
Thomas Wood.
Here.
Barbara Hebert.
Here.
Charles Costick.
Here.
Dana Isabella. James Coffey.
Here.
And Katie Palucci. I'm present.
Perfect. And I apologize, I'm losing my voice a little bit, so if I crackle, that's what's going on. Resolution 264, to accept the minutes of the previous meeting.
Resolved that the minutes of October 5th of 2023 and October 12th of 2023 be accepted and the reading of the minutes be dispensed with.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Costick, is there a second?
Second.
Isabella, is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Resolution carries. Is there anyone seeking to provide public comment from the floor this evening? Seeing none, we'll advance. Resolution 265, the abstract.
Resolved that the abstract of audited claims number 12A-23 for $438,210.83. Abstract 12A-23 prepays for the amount of $334,316.84. Be received as reviewed by the audit committee, and the supervisor is hereby authorized to pay said abstracts.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Hebert, is there a second?
Second.
Isabella, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Resolution does carry. Resolution 266, the monthly department reports.
Resolved to receive and place on file monthly department head reports for October of 2023 and November of 2023. We have Buildings and Grounds Department, Parks and Recreation, Supervisor's Financial Report, and Water and Wastewater. For September of 2023, October, and November of 2023, we have our Codes and Zoning Department. For October, we have our Dog Control Officer, Highway Superintendent, and Town Clerk.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Isabella, Costick, is there any discussion?
Yeah, is there a particular reason why Codes and Zoning is 3 months behind?
My understanding is with Brett being out for a period of time, everyone was just doing a little bit more, so.
Okay.
Yep. Anything further? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Resolution does carry. Thank you. Resolution 267, water rate adjustment effective January 1st of 2024.
Whereas the Greater Town of Plattsburgh Consolidated Water District and the PARC District are duly established water districts and have appropriated expenditures for operation and maintenance of its water systems. And whereas the town board recognizes the responsibility of maintaining a safe and reliable water system, requires increases in rates that will both sustain its systems as well as prepare for any future capital improvements. Whereas the proposed rate adjustments shall become fully effective January 1st of 2024 and be retroactive to the date of the previous billing period, including any and all outside users, excluding those who fall under an intermunicipal agreement to be set as follows. The meter rate shall be $3.88 per 1,000 gallons after the minimum, with a minimum per month of $12.43 for 0 to 2 gallons, or $37.29 for 0 to 7,000 gallons per quarter, based on customers' billing frequency. Therefore, be it resolved that these new rates shall be in place and effective the first full quarterly billing cycle, retroactive as noted. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the finance manager, the tax receiver, and the water and wastewater department.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Wood, is there a second?
Second.
Costick. I just want to provide clarity. It's 0 to 2,333, and the other one was 0 to 7,000. Is there any further discussion?
Thank you.
It's okay. Is there any further discussion?
It's just, we kept it as low as possible, so 2% increase. And has to be an increase every year with inflation and cost of materials and things.
Our water rates are very accurately competitive in the service that we provide. So I'm going to ask for a roll call on this.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Barbara Hebert,
Yes.
Charles Costick,
Yes.
Dana Isabella,
Yes.
Michael Cashman.
Yes, resolution does carry. Resolution 268, wastewater rate adjustment effective January 1st of 2024.
Whereas the Greater Town of Plattsburgh Consolidated Sewer District and the PARC Sewer District are duly established water districts and have appropriated expenditures for operation and maintenance of its wastewater systems. And whereas the town board recognizes the responsibility of maintaining a safe and reliable wastewater system, requires increasing in rates that will both sustain its system as well as prepare for any future capital improvements. And whereas the proposed rate adjustment shall become fully effective January 1st of 2024 and be retroactive to the date of the previous billing period, including any and all outside users, to be set as follows. The metered rate shall be $7.85 per 1,000 gallons, with a minimum per month of $22.19 for 0 to 2,333 gallons, or $66.58 for 0 to 7,000 gallons per quarter based on customers' billing frequency. Therefore be it resolved that these new rates shall be in place and effective the first full quarterly billing cycle, retroactive as noted. And be further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the finance manager, the tax receiver, and the water and wastewater department.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Costick, is there a second?
Second.
Wood, any discussion?
Yeah, it's just the basic rate is just, again, 2% for the base amount.
Can I get a roll call?
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Barbara Hebert,
Yes.
Charles Costick,
Yes.
Dana Isabella,
Yes.
Michael Cashman.
Yes, resolution does carry. Resolution 269, memorandum of understanding between, Clinton County, the town of Schuyler Falls, and the town of Plattsburgh.
Whereas Clinton County is in the process of designing and constructing a new water main to extend water service to residents along the Sand Road in Morrisonville, town of Schuyler Falls. And whereas this new water line will affect town of Schuyler Falls residents and connect to the town of Plattsburgh water system. And whereas a copy of said memorandum of understanding among Clinton County, town of Schuyler Falls, and the town of Plattsburgh is attached hereto and made a part thereof. And whereas said memorandum of understanding has been reviewed by Scott Stoddard, Director of Water and Wastewater, Ronald LaBurge, Consulting Engineer for the town, and James Coffey, Town Attorney, and said individuals are in agreement that entering into said memorandum is in the best interest of the town. Now therefore be it resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized to execute said memorandum and any related documents on behalf of the town.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Costick, is there a second?
Seconded.
Hebert. I would just like to publicly thank Scott, Jim, and Ron LaBurge on our team for their diligent work on this. So glad to see it move forward. It's good for us. It's good for the region.
Right, and the county certainly pursues grant funding to help.
Yeah,
Support
and
them.
along with the town of
Yeah,
Schuyler
exactly.
Falls. So just so everybody knows too, that's coming from this side. It's not coming from the Katyville,
Correct.
from the Katyville side. That's, the capacity on that side is close.
Okay.
So that'll be pushed up from this side, so there'll be a pump.
Mhm.
that
And the
pushes
town of
it up.
Plattsburgh isn't responsible
No.
for any
Nope.
of the cost of this.
No, the same as
Yeah.
anything else that goes in the Schuyler.
Yeah.
We as a regional water supplier are participating in this, this project from that
Yeah.
position. So,
That's
Yeah,
why I
sorry,
mentioned,
it's the right thing to do.
yeah, that's why I mentioned the grant funding, Tom, because if they're pursuing those,
Okay, they're working
they're
diligently.
working diligently on that.
can I get a roll call, please?
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Barbara Hebert,
Yes,
Charles Costick,
Yes.
Dana Isabella,
Yes.
Michael Cashman.
Yes, resolution carries. Thank you. Resolution 270, a resolution supporting the Empire State Development's ESD designation as a cellular-specific point person to lead the state's efforts on enhancing cellular coverage and further encouraging the state to implement a unified strategy to assure every major road corridor has reliable cell coverage as a recommended by the ESD's Upstate Cellular Coverage Task Force final report.
Whereas cellular service is vital to public safety and the economic well-being of communities throughout the Adirondack Park. And whereas county officials report that approximately 70% of 911 calls originate from cellular phones. And whereas in a recent survey hosted on the State Senate website of almost 2,000 Adirondack Park residents, 99% of respondents reported owning a cellular phone, and 67 reported that they rely exclusively on a cellular phone. And whereas dependency on cellular service is significant and growing, which speaks to the absolute necessity of improved coverage and service, and whereas the state of New York helped respond to this reality in the North Country by working aggressively to deploy the COWS Cells on Wheels to provide adequate emergency response capacity to serve visitors to the World University Games. And whereas state officials are proposing that Empire State Development designate a point person to coordinate the state's efforts to enhance cellular coverage, similar to the manner in which ESD designed a point person to coordinate the state's efforts to expand broadband coverage. And whereas the Office of Renewable Energy, citing the ORES, which works to align all state agencies and state policy regarding renewable energy, citing and implementation serves as another, or citing and implementation serves as another successful example of the state coordinating its strategy on important infrastructure matters. And whereas barriers to achieving the state's goals with respect to both broadband and cellular coverage enhancement continue to exist within some state agencies, including but not limited to the New York State Department of Transportation right-of-way requirements, tax policy, and the APA restrictions. And an approach similar to ORES would be beneficial in overcoming these barriers. And whereas improving broadband and cellular coverage is a safety issue, a public imperative widely demanded by our constituents, and has become increasingly regarded as a basic necessity. And whereas some state policies, especially the APA's substantial invisibility standard, are not keeping pace with these trends, and instead becoming antiquated and counterproductive from the perspective of emergency services, best practices in place elsewhere in New York State, including co-location of multiple telecommunication systems on cell towers. And whereas APA's long-standing claim that the telecommunications industry does not oppose the substantial invisibility standard is inaccurate, demonstrated most recently in comments entered by Nixon Peabody into review of the 2002 APA tower policy, which recommends that the agency modify its 2002 policy that requires telecommunications facilities over 40 feet tall be substantially invisible, and which characterized that requirement as an arbitrary standard is the main impediment to delivering much-needed reliable wireless telecommunications services to a greater portion of the park. And whereas the general public is increasingly supportive of common sense policy changes that promote a more appropriate balance between public safety and aesthetics while maintaining sensitivity to the environment, as reflected in the aforementioned public opinion survey, in which 90% of respondents supported changes to the APA's substantial invisibility standard. And whereas the state has begun taking steps indicating that policymakers recognize these challenges, including the issuance of Empire State Development's Upstate Cellular Coverage Task Force final report and APA's advancement of a general permit to assist with cellular coverage expansion. Now therefore be it resolved that the town of Plattsburgh hereby supports the proposed designation by ESD of a point person to coordinate the state's efforts to enhance cellular coverage, and formally ask Governor Kathy Hochul to further enhance the state's efforts on broadband and cellular coverage expansion by employing a model similar to ORES that is respectful of the home rule process and designed to streamline policymaking across state agencies in pursuit of moving the state more expeditiously toward its goals. And be it further resolved that the town of Plattsburgh hereby joins emergency service and telecommunication professionals in other towns and villages across the Adirondacks, and urging the APA and the governor to review the 2002 APA tower policy's antiquated substantial invisibility standard, which stands as the main impediment to delivering reliable telecommunication services necessary for public safety in large portions of the Adirondack Park. And be it further resolved that copies of this resolution be forwarded to Governor Kathy Hochul, Adirondack Park Agency Executive Director Barbara Rice, State Senator Dan Steck, State Senator Mark, how do we say his last name? Walls. Assemblyman Matt Simpson, Assemblyman Billy Jones, Assemblyman Ken Blackenbush, and Assemblyman Robert Smolin, AATV, and the Adirondack Inter-County.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Isabella, is there a second?
Second?
Osnick? I just want to provide two small pieces of commentary. This resolution specifically came through a network of the Adirondack Association of Towns and Villages. This has been an ongoing conversation about the health and safety needs of cellular in the region. And just as a side note, when I was down in Albany for business at the Association of Towns, this is an ongoing conversation. So even individuals that aren't necessarily either in the blue line or adjacent to the blue line, people recognize that there's a significant need here. So it's one more step forward. It doesn't solve everything, but I know people will very much appreciate you entertaining this for consideration tonight. So,
And I would say as somebody who travels extensively, and with a lot of that in the Adirondack Park, it's needed.
Anything further?
Well, it's true that there's not that coverage throughout the whole Adirondack Park. It is supposed to be forever wild, and I can't see towers that are as high as they'll need to be, and with lights flashing all the time for airplane things. So I do not support this.
I respect that. Tom, what I would say is, as technology has changed over time, we have to find a means for integration for health and safety. And there are individuals in the Adirondack Park, for example, that are living in those communities. And during the pandemic, we saw that some of those people struggled to get school because they were having to work remote and they didn't have broadband. So the technology isn't just about, it's not in the heart of the mountains. It's, largely focused on corridor connections for consideration, but.
Along major
Major points of connection, like I'll take 87 as a point. So I can't speak to every element, and this specific resolution is identifying a point person for the project. That's what the resolution is speaking to. It's not taking a position on the full wide policy. It is specifically
Don't
seeking.
we take a position with the last resolve?
Yeah, the policy as it relates to making the revisions and putting the point person, there is still much more work to be done. So, but I respect it. I just want to provide some clarity in that before you vote. So, with nothing further, I'll ask for a roll call vote.
Thomas Wood,
No?
Barbara Hebert,
Yes.
Charles Costick,
Yes.
Dana Isabella,
Yes.
Michael Cashman.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 271, reappointment for Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee.
Whereas the town board passed resolution 020-117, establishing a Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee, and whereas committee members Jessica Judd and Kaylee Rayville are willing to serve the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee as reappointments from January 1st of 2024 to December 31st of 2025. Therefore be it resolved that the town of Plattsburgh Town Board does hereby appoint the aforementioned individuals to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee, and be further resolved that each committee member take the oath of office within 30 days of this resolution and a copy be given to the Parks and Recreation Department.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Costick, is there a second?
Seconded.
Isabel, any discussion?
I'd just like to thank Jessica and Kaylee, along with everybody else that is part of the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee. They've put a lot of hard work and it really helped us keep everything going in the right direction with the parks.
Yeah. Even though I'm not a liaison member to that particular department, I just admire the advisory committee, and especially the two ladies that are going to be reappointed. This is, I think, their third, possibly. Could be, yeah.
Yes, it would be for
Their
both.
third, so, thank you.
All right, with nothing further, I'll call the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Resolution is carried. Resolution 272, amendment to amendment to the reappointment for Lorraine Strutter to the Assessment Board of Review.
Whereas resolution 023-233 passed on October 19th, reappointed Ms. Lorraine Strader to the Assessment Board of Review for a term to expire on December 31st of 2027. And whereas in accordance with the New York State Real Property Tax Law, Chapter 50-A, Article 5, Title 1-A, Section C, the terms of office of members of the Board of Assessment Review shall be 5 years. Therefore be it resolved that per the New York State Real Property Tax Law referenced above, the town board does hereby correct the reappointment of Ms. Streeter to the Assessment Board of Review for a term to expire December 31st of 2028. And be further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the Board of Assessment Review, chairperson, and the town assessor.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Peter, is there a second?
Second.
Isabella, any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Thomas Wood,
Yes?
Barbara Hebert,
Yes.
Charles Costick,
Yes.
Dana Isabella,
Yes.
and Michael Cashman.
Yes, resolution does carry. Resolution 273, appointment of the court clerk Pam St. John.
Resolved to receive and place on file a letter dated November 20th of 2023 from Town Justice James D. Joyce and Town Justice Christopher Michaud, appointing Pamela St. John as full-time court clerk for the Town of Plattsburgh Town Justices for the year 2024. And be further resolved that a copy of this resolution be placed in Ms. St. John's personnel files, and be further resolved that Ms. St. John take an oath of office within 30 days of this resolution.
Is there a motion?
So moved?
Wood, is there there a second?
Second.
Isabella, is there any discussion? Seeing none, can I get a roll call vote?
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Barbara Hebert,
Yes.
Charles Costick,
Yes.
Dana Isabella.
Yes.
Michael Cashman.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 274, appointment of court clerk Justin Dunham.
Resolved to receive and place on file a letter dated November 30th of 2023 from Town Justice James D. Joyce and Town Justice Christopher Michaud, appointing Justin Dunham as a full-time court clerk for the Town of Plattsburgh Town Justices for 2024. And be further resolved that a copy of this resolution be placed in Mr. Dunham's personal files, and be further resolved that Mr. Dunham take an oath of office within 30 days of this resolution.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Wood, is there a second?
Second.
Isabella, any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Barbara Hebert,
Yes.
Charles Costick,
Yes.
Dana Isabella,
Yes.
Michael Cashman.
Yes, resolution does carry. Resolution 275, Elmore SPCA agreement.
Whereas on occasion it is necessary for the dog control officer to kennel stray dogs and provide other kennel services as appropriate and approved by the supervisor. Therefore be it resolved that after the town attorney's review, the supervisor be authorized to sign an agreement between Elmore SPCA and Town of Plattsburgh to follow the provision of Article 7 of the Agriculture and Markets Law and any rules and regulation promulgated pursuant thereto in relation to the seizure, holding, care, redemption, and disposition of seized dogs in the Town of Plattsburgh. And be further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the finance manager, the dog control officer, and Elmore SPCA in Peru, New York.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Hebert, is there a second?
Second.
Wood, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Resolution carries. Resolution 276, CDPH ambulance service agreement.
Resolved that after review and approval by the town attorney, the agreement with the CDPH Ambulance Service Inc. and the town of Plattsburgh is hereby approved for the period of January 1st of 2024 through December 31st of 2026. And is further resolved that the supervisor be and hereby is authorized to sign said agreement for the town, and be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution and agreement be given to the finance manager and the CFO for EMT of CDPH Ambulance.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Hebert, is there a second?
Second.
Costick, any discussion? Seeing none,
What was, how does it compare with last year?
It's a 5% increase.
5%?
Correct.
can I get a roll call vote, please?
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Barbara Hebert,
Yes.
Charles Costick,
Yes.
Michael Cashman,
Yes.
and Dana Isabella.
Yes.
I got a little excited.
Resolution does
That's
carry.
good.
Thank you.
Well, not,
Nice
but
job.
skip.
You already said it in your mouth, so that's why. All right.
That's nice.
Resolution 277, 3% site plan return deposit for Aki Properties LLC, Monahan Building, site plan of 2022.
Whereas the Town of Plattsburgh Planning Board has reviewed and approved all requirements of the Yankee Properties LLC Monahan Building Site Plan 2022, and whereas the Planning and Community Development Department has coordinated inspection of said project and reports all requirements have been met and completed. Now therefore be it resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized and directed to release said deposit in the amount of $500 plus accrued interest to date, and is further resolved that a certified copy of this resolution be forwarded by the Planning and Community Development Department Secretary with the return of the deposit to Yankee Properties LLC.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Wood, is there a second?
Seconded.
Hebert, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Resolution carries. Resolution 278, emergency repair supplies purchase Connecticut Road and Idaho Ave.
Whereas the necessity to continue maintenance and improvements of roadside drainage ditches and the stormwater drainage systems within the town requires the need for additional drainage pipes. And whereas Greg Brunel, Highway Superintendent, is requesting the following supplies be purchased to have on hand for when the repairs are needed on Connecticut Road and Idaho Avenue. We have listed here a 120-foot culvert pipe with the pricing all listed here, for a total purchase of $22,132.44 to be purchased from VP Supply Corp. Using the New York State contract pricing. Therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Plattsburgh does hereby grant permission to Greg Brunel to order said supplies for the necessary repairs to Connecticut Road and Idaho Avenue. And it is further resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized to sign all related documents required for this purchase. And it is further resolved that the payment for said emergency repairs supplies be made payable from the 2024 storm drain equipment and capital outlay account as stated here.
Is there a motion?
So,
Costick, is there a second?
Seconded.
Hebert, any discussion?
As we all know, major repairs can happen quickly in emergencies, and so I think planning ahead like this is a good thing.
Particularly in this area.
Yeah, and getting the supply sometimes is not that easy, as we found out, so.
The whole base infrastructure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
All right.
just wanna.
With nothing further, I'll call the vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Resolution carries. Resolution 279, purchase of new vehicles for water wastewater department.
Whereas the Water and Wastewater Department needs 2 new vehicles to replace current vehicles, and whereas the Water and Wastewater Department has complied with the New York State OGS procurement requirements for acquisition by the completion of the competitive mini bid process executed via the New York State Vehicle Marketplace. Therefore be resolved to accept the following bids for a Ford Auto Team of Elmira, a 2025 Ford 750, or F-750, regular cab, for $125,711.60. And then for Basil Ford, a 2024 Ford F-350 regular cab with the Fisher plow at $56,579.73. Pursuant to the New York State Office of the General Services Standards and Purchase Group contract, it is further resolved that the town board does hereby grant permission to purchase the above vehicles, and a copy of this resolution be given to the Water and Wastewater Department and the Finance Manager.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Costick, is there a second?
Seconded.
Hebert, any discussion?
I assume we have a copy of the bid for the $125,000. Wasn't in here.
It should be in the other supporting materials, and we
Yeah,
can get it
I
for
have
you,
it.
so,
Was it the single sheet?
yep.
Yep.
And I would just remind everybody that that 750 is replacing Big Blue, the full-size dump truck that Water has decided they don't have to keep a big truck like that. So this purchase, they will use that to tow the trailer with other equipment, but it's $125,000 versus $300,000 for a full-size dump truck. So they're saving a substantial amount of money.
Yeah, and then it also falls under New York State OGS procurement.
Yeah.
120.
Makes it much easier.
We got $135,000.
But I think our fleet management discussions check have certainly lent itself to getting ready and
Yep.
going through these topics, so we can be better efficient.
Making the right move.
Yeah.
All right, nothing further. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Resolution carries. Resolution 280, JCO Services Agreement.
Whereas the Town of Plattsburgh Town Board is in receipt of the 2023-2024 annual agreement between the Town of Plattsburgh and the Joint Council for Economic Opportunity of Plattsburgh and Clinton County, Inc., which states the services and financial assistance rendered by both parties for the operation of the Community Outreach Program in the Town of Plattsburgh for the period commencing December 1st of 2023 and ending November 30th of 2024. And whereas the Town Board has given consideration to the request of $22,200 for the contribution for the outreach program, and hereby does authorize the supervisor to sign and execute said agreement upon approval by the town attorney. Therefore, be it resolved that the supervisor hereby authorized to make payment in the net amount of $22,200 to JCEO, and that the payment be made payable from the Town of Plattsburgh General Fund. And it is further resolved that an executed copy of this agreement is returned to JCEO for their files, and that the finance manager be given a copy.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Costick, is there a second?
Seconded.
Hebert, any discussion? None. All those in favor, please say aye. Resolution carries. 281, request to attend annual codes enforcement educational conference.
Whereas it is in the best interest of the town code enforcement officers to remain current and informed concerning changes in regulation and participation in the annual conference will enable the code officers to earn 24 credits to maintain their license. Therefore, it is resolved that Stephen Imhoff, Ellen Reese, and Brett Baker, code enforcement officers, be allowed to attend the Northern Adirondack Code Enforcement Officials Association 29th Annual Education Conference held from March 4th, 2024 through March 7th, 2024 in Lake Placid, New York, at the Cambria Hotel. And it is further resolved that $3,381 reduced conference fees, lodging, and meals be charged to the Codes and Zoning budget for 2024. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the finance manager and the code enforcement officers.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Hebert, Isabella, any discussion?
Just that I said it before, but our annual conferences, we've been very fortunate to have them in the local region. So we're to travel, and to send 3 people for $3,381 for important conferences.
Anything further? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Resolution carries. Resolution 282, resolution to hold a public hearing for local law number 8 of 2023, a local law to establish the resident requirements for the appointment of office of Deputy Highway Superintendent of the town of Plattsburgh.
Whereas the proposed local law number 8 of 2023, a local law to establish the residency requirements for the appointed office of Deputy Highway Superintendent for the town of Plattsburgh. Whereas due consideration has been given to the adoption of proposed local law 8 of 2023 by all members of the town board who were present, and whereas it is the considered opinion of all members of the town board who were present that a public hearing should be held on the 14th day of December 2023 at 6:05 p.m. at Plattsburgh Town Hall, 151 Banker Road, Plattsburgh, New York, to consider the adoption of proposed local law number 8 of 2023. Now a motion duly made and seconded, it is resolved that a public hearing be held on the 14th day of December of 2023 at 6:05 p.m. at the Plattsburgh Town Hall, 151 Banker Road, Plattsburgh, New York, on the question of the enactment of proposed local law number 8 of 2023. And be further resolved that a notice of hearing of proposed local law number 8 of 2023 shall be published in the Press Republican not less than 5 days prior to that hearing. And be further resolved that the town clerk shall post the notice on the bulletin board maintained by the town clerk pursuant to Town Law 30, Part 6, and on the town of Plattsburgh's website for a period of not less than 5 days prior to that public hearing.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Wood. Is there a second?
Second?
Discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Barbara Hebert,
Yes.
Charles Costick,
Yes.
Anna Isabella,
Yeah.
Michael Cashman.
Yes, resolution is carried. Before I entertain a motion to go into executive session, I would like to bring note of a couple of different things. Very briefly is, because we are now in that chapter of one final meeting for the year, so for our guests here, we actually have 2 of these meetings a month, and then we have 2 work sessions. The work sessions are kind of like draft materials before things come to the board. I would typically note this in a work session, but we did have a resident of the town reach out to us requesting some information as it relates to infrastructure, as it relates to sidewalks up on Route 3 and Park Road. It has been referred to the highway department, so I just want to let you folks know that.
And she did reach out to me directly also.
So that has been referred to the highway department as they maintain our sidewalks. And yes, just a final reminder, not sure what the full docket of the meeting will look like, but it could be a lengthy meeting as well. And then we will get back into the first meeting of the new year will be our organizational meeting. I will be canvassing the board for a variety of appointments to committees and liaison trips and so on and so forth. So just a heads up, please be reviewing your emails. And with nothing further, I would.
Just, on that meeting, are we gonna take the oath of office at the meeting? For those that were new elected?
We can have that conversation individually. I know some people have some different schedules going on, but if people want to do it that day, we can certainly do it. So, all right, with nothing further, I would entertain an executive session. One regarding the proposed pending or current litigation relating to the relationship to Morrisonville EMS services. Is there a motion to do so? Is that a motion, Tom? Okay. Tom? Wood? Is there a second?
Second.
Hebert. Can I get a roll call, please?
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Barbara Hebert,
Yes.
Charles Costick,
Yes.
Tina Isabella,
Yes.
Michael Cashman.
Yes, we will officially enter executive session at 6:33 p.m. No formal action to follow. So at this time, unfortunately, I have to ask you folks to leave. We have an executive
warned
session.
them.
Gotcha.
We know you wanted to stay for a few more.
Give us-
So thank you for coming to
Well,
this
you've got
meeting.
the wide variety
Well,
of.
welcome to come back anytime.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, have a good one.
Have a
Have a good evening.
Thank
Happy
you.
holidays.
Thank you for coming.
Merry Christmas.
Yes, have a happy holiday.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your questions.